Yes, people, how we doing? How we doing? It's your boy Flicks, Hotspur Flicks TV, of course. Come on, smash the like button if you've never smashed that like button yet. Please also get subscribing to the channel if you've never subbed before. Um, so where should we start? Obviously, with the disappointing news that Tottenham dropped 2 points last night. So yeah, thanks to Mathis yeah, we dropped 2 points and we walked away with a 1-1 draw last night. Was it a fair result? Would you say? Um, if you're going to ask me, it was a fair result in the end. Look, Spurs didn't really get going, did they? Compared to the Villa game, a lot of people would say, well, Villa played their second string team, didn't they? Centre backs missing, Abraham playing over Watkins, etc. So yeah, I know they did have a lot of players missing, but at the end of the day, you can only play what's put in front of you, right? But last night, Leeds, before the game, we knew Leeds would be strong, right? They would give us a game, and they did. I know Spurs, they didn't make it. They didn't make it easy for themselves, did they? They didn't make it very easy for themselves. Um, the lineup was pretty much the same as it was against Villa. Kinksky, outstanding. Again, outstanding couple of saves. He actually kept us in the game. Especially towards the end as well. When was it Shane Longstaff when he come off from the bench, hit the underside of the crossbar, fingertip saved to actually pull it onto the crossbar. Um, to think we could have lost that game. For me, Kinksky has to be our number one. Obviously, rumour has it that Vicario wants out in the summer. So, if true, even if it ain't true, I just want Vicario gone. I've had enough of Vicario. I really have. Kinksky for me is my number one keeper. Back four weren't too shabby. You know what I mean? I know we can do a lot better in some positions there. And again, Bentancur and Polina in the heart of the midfield. It is what it is, isn't it? Still got players missing, a lot of players missing, and it don't help. I know it really don't help the situation, but it's it's just disappointing, isn't it? Very, very disappointing to have dropped 2 points, knowing that leading up to kick-off, Spurs win the game, and we go 4 points clear. A little bit of a breathing space there, knowing West Ham have to go to Newcastle and beat them. Now we only got a point. What, 2 points now? Obviously, if West Ham beat Newcastle at St James's Park on Sunday, they leapfrog Spurs, and Spurs go back into the bottom three. And I know it's only a point difference, but we have to go to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge next Wednesday, I believe. Knowing we have to at least get at least a draw, but obviously beating Everton, we've either got to beat Chelsea or beat Everton. We have to bag another 3 points out of one of them at least. I've 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 said it before and I'll say again. I've got a very sneaky feeling that goal difference will play a very, very big part in this. It's bear with me, guys. Look, I'm going to bring the table up. Is it this one here? Points difference there. It's yeah. Goals scored 46. They're on 42. Goals conceded, we're on 55. West Ham on 62. They go by goals scored, don't they? I'm sure they go by goals scored. It's yeah. From my understanding, West Ham have an all right record at St James's Park. From my understanding, and obviously last game of the season they have Leeds. Now, how do we look at this one? Do the West Ham go to St James's Park and beat them? It was. I know Newcastle haven't really had a good run of form, have they? Haven't really had a good run of form. I'm trying to think what their last result was. They lost, didn't? No, they drew, didn't they, against Forest? It was the week before where they got their first win out of like the last 4 or 5. But I know they've not really had a good run. But we got to hope Newcastle do us a little favour But then obviously we got to watch our backs. You know, we got to do our own job. Stamford Bridge, we are our form shows you we are not good at Chelsea. But then saying that, Chelsea going into the FA Cup final on Saturday, Tottenham don't play another game until next Wednesday, so maybe that could play in our part. No, we got an extra. We got that long rest. They haven't. And again, saying that Chelsea are in very bad form, but then so are we. You know what I mean? We are where we are right now. You know what I mean? But again, form goes out the window when Spurs play Chelsea, right? 9 times out of 10, Chelsea come out on top. Again, a lot of people have said for the past 3 months, you know, Chelsea could be the team that relegates Spurs. Let's hope not. What really annoys me to think if Spurs got the job done at Brighton, we wouldn't have been talking so much about this. It's just so annoying, so annoying. You know, this right here. This right here was a massive letdown. What were your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. What were your thoughts on this one here, right here? To think Mathis Tell, right, put us one up. Wait a minute, let me bring this up. Put us 1-0 up in the 50th minute, right? Right. And then to think, bear with me guys, to think he then does this. You know? To think he then does that. You know, who does this? Who does this in your own box? It was a simple clearance, right? It was a simple, very easy clearance. Or was that just me? It was very simple. To see Tell do what he did was very shambolic of him. Very shambolic. Again, some people might be saying, or are actually saying, that Ampadu actually, you know, you can see it in the picture. He's thrown his head towards the boot. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not looking for excuses, by the way. I'm really not looking for excuses, by the way. But it's yeah, it's one of them ones, isn't it? It's just such a letdown, knowing that we could have pulled this out of the bag and bagged another 3 points to have that 4 points gap. You know, it really is. It really is very annoying. You know, obviously, our man De Zerbi weren't happy. You know what I mean? This one here, bear me, people. This, where was it? I think this was this the first one? No, sorry. Let's bring this one up first. So obviously, yeah, you know, the penalty went the right way. You know, but here we are. You know, and then obviously this was the first half save, wasn't it? What a save that was! Right on the line, wasn't it? Right on the line. Right on the line. To think if Vicario was in goal, you know, it could have been at least a 3-1. At least a 3-1. You know, 3-1 Leeds. Obviously their pen. This one right here we're seeing on the picture, that would have definitely gone in if Vicario was in goal. And, you know, going back to I don't think I've got it on here. No, I haven't. Obviously the Kingsley save in the injury time, fingertip saved. When was it Shane Longstaff who come off from the bench? When I see him come on, I think, fuck, he's going to score in a minute. To think he nearly did, but 100% Vicario would have let that in. 100% he would have. Couple of little comments here. Please smash that like button on your way through. Get subbing to the channel if you've never subbed before. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, hit the likes. But we've got an Everton fan in the building. Everton fan. Big up Richie. Hi all, Everton fan. We love Leeds. Leeds. Come on, West Ham United, get the win. Everton beat Spurs last game of the season. Come on, you Blues. So we've got an Everton fan in the building. Everton fan, eh? Look, Everton last game of the season won't be easy, especially for Spurs being at home. You know, you might say, well, you're at home, you're in your own backyard, right? But no, not for Spurs. Our home form has been absolutely shambolic. If I remember rightly, 2 home wins this season. We've played slightly better being away. Make that make sense, people. Make it make sense. You'd think it'd be the other way around, right? For any team, playing in your own backyard, having that 12th man behind you, you'd think, okay, surely they should get something. But no, it's really not been easy for Spurs. It's mental, isn't it? 2 home wins this season at home. Big up Rodney Martin, big up Flicks. I think we are going down. Very much so. Come on, you Spurs. Rodney's also saying Kingsky was a man of the match. Yeah, 100% Kingsky was man of the match. He was man of the match. Like I said, if we had Fakaria in goal, that was at least a 3-1 win for Leeds. You know, the outstanding save in the first half, right on the line. The fingertip saved from Longstaff, who'd come on from the bench. You know, he has to be our number 1 keeper going forward. Definitely, especially if we do go down in the Championship, we have to keep hold of him. It's going to be a struggle to keep hold of our so-called top players. I know. I don't even want to think of the thought of us actually going down. It's crazy, isn't it? It's obviously laughable for the neutral. There's a lot of neutrals that do want Spurs to go down. Trying to prove them wrong is like trying to get blood out of a stone in it. You know, we've dropped so many points. Like I said earlier, if we got that win against Brighton, that win last night, you know, 6 points on the board. 6 points on the board we could have had. You know, 4 points dropped out of those 2 games. And here we are, people. And here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Another comment coming through. Big up the chat, by the way. Big up the chat. Keep them coming in. That's obviously meant to say ACL. So you're lucky your ACLs. I guess it's kneecap was offside. You just reminded me that was another one, wasn't it? Was it Calvert-Lewin through on goal? I'm trying to remember now. But yeah, I know what you're on about. It was knee literally the kneecap offside. Like it's mental, and it absolutely mental. VAR has been an absolute disgrace. And talking about VAR, the obviously last night, Leeds keeper, was it Darlow? He kept hold of the ball for more than 8 seconds, and the ref noticed it, and we got a corner out of it, didn't we? Like that's not been consistent. That has not been consistent, because I've noticed a lot of keepers for the past couple of months that have done that, and they've just got on with it. Consistency, right? It's not consistent. Not consistent. Not consistent, people. But you know, this right here, it's very, very edgy for Spurs. Very, very edgy for Spurs. Well, West Ham, of course, as well. You know, it's literally a 2-horse race now. Who's going to get that final place to head down to the Championship? West Ham are currently on 36. Spurs are on 38. 2 points difference. For all we know, Spurs could be safe and Newcastle do a job, and West Ham only managed to get a point against Leeds. You know, if that happens, then hey, we're laughing, right? Spurs don't have to win their next 2. We're safe. But we can't rely on Newcastle to do us a favour, and we can't rely on Leeds to do us a favour, because 9 times out of 10, last game of the season, it always turns out to be funny scorelines. We know that. You know, for all we know, we could run right against Everton last game of the season. Goals galore. But going on, current home form, it's been very, 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 very dismal, very, very dismal. So I'm not expecting a win against Everton last game of the season. I'm really not expecting a win against Chelsea, to be honest. Play anything like we did last night, then we'd be lucky, very, very lucky to get a draw. We will be very lucky to get a draw. But of course, like I said, ideally, Newcastle to at least get a draw against West Ham, and we get something at Chelsea. It won't be easy, I know. Seeing this man come on. Where are we? James Maddison. Bear with me, guys. I'll be back. One sec, people. So yes, people. Sorry about that. So yeah, Maddison. We finally got to see Maddison come on, didn't we? Very late on, and what was I going to say? I lost my thread. So yeah, Maddison was actually brought down in the box, wasn't he? When I first see it, I'm shouting, pen. Surely this is when Spurs are going to bag the winner. But obviously VAR coming to it. I know it's very, 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 very short and sweet. And look, Spurs have not had a pen this season. I swear we're the only Spurs. I was going to say Spurs side. We're the only side in the league that's not had a pen this season. But yeah, from the angle they showed, you could just about see that their defender just about won the ball before touching Maddison. Yeah, I was literally on my hands and knees hoping that Spurs were going to get their first pen and Maddison was going to bag the winner. But hey, here we are. Yeah, it's just so frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But here we are. Nighttime Kid, big up Nighttime Kid, hero to zero. Well, yeah, exactly. Hero 0-0. You know what I mean? 0-0. This guy here. What an absolute idiot. What was Mathis Tell thinking? Like I said earlier, and I'm saying again, you know, who does this in their own box? Seriously, it's a simple clearance. Simple clearance, right? Simple clearance. But yeah, nighttime kid, bang on. From 0-0, you know, gets the goal. You know, to think his goal was or could have been the winner in the end. Here we are. Here we are. You know, with Tell again, gets to the final third, and I've said it before, he gets to the final third and he struggles to take his man on. He can't take players on. Honestly, I'm really baffled when it comes to fans actually telling me that Tell is good. He's quality. He's not. He can't take players on. He really can't. He really can't, people. He really can't. Nighttime Kid also saying Newcastle might draw. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I'm really hoping that Newcastle at least get a draw at West. I was going to say at West Ham. It's at James's Park, isn't it? Against West Ham. You know, saying that this will be Newcastle's last home game, so surely they will want to turn it up for the Toon Army and do us a favour, right? Please do us a favour. Any Newcastle fans that will come across this or watching right now, please do us a favour. Do us a favour. Come on, please. Nighttime Kid also saying, I think we draw with the Chelsea or win. Well, let's hope so, because our form, especially at Stamford Bridge, is absolutely terrible. But again, like I said earlier, and I will say again, let's not forget Chelsea have their FA Cup tie against Man City on Saturday. Spurs don't play again until next Wednesday night against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Now, I'd like to think that we've got a long rest now until next Wednesday. Chelsea have got another game in between that. And again, saying that, their form in the league has been absolutely shocking, hasn't it? Before their draw against Liverpool on the weekend, they lost their last 6. But again, Tottenham, I know, when it's Tottenham and Chelsea, form goes out the window 9 times out of 10. Chelsea come out on top. But a little part of me's thinking maybe Spurs could maybe get a point, knowing that Newcastle done us a favour. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be nice, eh? Wouldn't that be nice, Spurs fans? Nighttime Kid also saying Madison looks the best character in those minutes. It was fantastic, wasn't it, to see James Madison step foot back onto the pitch, and to think, you know, when he was brought down in the box, pen. But here we are, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? But I'm surely going back to the Chelsea game next Wednesday. Surely James Madison has to start. Now we've seen him come off from the bench. Surely he has to start. I know some people might say it's a lot to ask for someone that's had at least a year out, for him to start a game. Well, it's that saying, isn't it? Shit or bust now. Shit or bust. 2 games left. Surely Madison has to start this big game at Stamford Bridge. Has to. Just start him. What have we got to lose? Nothing. We've got nothing to lose. You'd start him, right? Surely you would start Madison next Wednesday night. Surely you would. Surely. Big up Aussie Ange. Let's bring it up on here. So yeah, big up Aussie Ange. Hello, be prepared for the last minute drama in the league. We are pulling off a miracle. I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. I know, Aussie Ange, you said before that Spurs won't go down. You know, fingers crossed that is still the case. I know there's a 2-point gap, but to think that could have been 4. We could have been talking about 4 points right now. 4 points. Knowing that even if West Ham do beat Newcastle, there's still going to be a point behind us going into that Chelsea game. But here we are. But yeah, man, Aussie Ange, I do hope you're right. Rodney Martin also saying, "Tell Wiz to blame. Tell Wiz to blame." I know he got the goal, but you know, like Nighttime Kid said earlier, it's from hero to zero. You know, he done a very, very stupid mistake. Stupid mistake in the box. You know, yeah. It just sums him up though, doesn't it? It just sums him up because, like I said, he's not he's just not a very good player. Can't take players on. He gets to the final third, and again 9 times out of 10, he can't finish. He really can't finish. Nighttime Kid also saying, you see, we need quality in attack. Well, yeah, of course we need quality in attack. To think what we had to what we've got now. Richarlison, who was shambolic last night. I know early on in the first half, I think the ball went out of play and he's sort of like throwing his arms out in the air, you know, trying to get the crowd going and all that. But you know, other than that, he did nothing, did he? Did absolutely nothing. This is what I mean with Richarlison. Not consistent enough. Not consistent enough, people. Nighttime Kid, mate, we battered Leeds in the first half and didn't score one. I know. This is what I mean. You know, amount of times, like I said, Till had the ball, got to the final third. I'm shouting, cross, take your man on, take your man on, and did not happen, did it? Did not happen. Rodney Martin also saying, we will go down. I've seen it before. Okay, so you've seen Spurs go down. What 77 was it? Wasn't it 77? Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Nighttime Kid again also saying, we need good attackers. No Richie, no Solanke, no Mawani. Bullshit. They're rubbish. I know. You ain't got to tell me that. You haven't got to tell me that, people. You haven't got to tell me that. Absolute trash. I know. Absolute trash. But you know, going into the summer, if we're down or ideally staying in the Prem, we need a massive clear out. Massive, massive, massive clear out. You know, what's annoying me is when De Zerbi was first brought in, it's a shame that De Zerbi wasn't brought in like ASAP, straight away. You know, going back to when Tudor was appointed, should have never been appointed in the first place. That's when De Zerbi should have been brought in. And 100%, we would not be in this position right now. We would have been a little bit more comfortable. In other words, we would have been safe. And it would have been obviously a fight between West Ham, Leeds, possibly Forest. You know, it would have been a fight between them. We would have been safe because it just goes to show since De Zerbi's arrived, we've not lost a game, have we? Sorry, no. His first game was against Sunderland, wasn't it? Where we lost 1-0, right? We lost 1-0. And that was a very, very stupid goal to give away. A deflection, wasn't it? And then the second game was against Brighton, where we should have won. We should have won that game. Should have won it. We should have won that game. You know. And then very scrappy against Wolves. Very, very scrappy against Wolves. But yeah, we got the job done. And then the one that literally blew me out the park, and I'm sure no one else see it, was beating Villa at Villa Park. But then Villa played pretty much their second side. You know, Abraham up top, Watkins missing, both centre backs missing. There was it Mings and Lindelof, appearing at centre back. But yeah, they were there for taking, and we got the job done. And like I said before, you can only play what's been put in front of you. They got the job done. It's just a shame that we couldn't get the job done last night and make it 3 wins in 3. Something Spurs haven't done, I believe, since February of last year. That's mental, isn't it? I'm sure. I'm sure that's what I heard, because I did look it up as well. I'm sure it was February last year was the last time Spurs made it 3 wins in 3. And here we are. Here we are. You know, it's so annoying, so annoying. And what will annoy me more is if West Ham do win at St James's Park and we head to Stamford Bridge back in the bottom 3. It's very annoying, isn't it? Very annoying. Nighttime kid Vicario. Don't wish injury on a player, but stay out. Yeah, Vicario for me. I'm done with Vicario. I've washed my hands of Vicario. I've even washed my hands of Christian Romero as well, and a few other players. You know, Kinksky again last night. Definitely redeemed himself after that poor performance in the first leg of the Champions League. You know, I've always said he's a very good keeper. Very good keeper. Going forward, has to be our number one. You know, he saved their asses last night. Saved their asses. Like I said, that could have at least finished 3-1 Leeds. You know, the first half save off the line. Vicario would have let that in. 100% he would have let that in. And very late on in the second half, fingertip saved onto the crossbar. You know, that could have easily gone in. And, you know, here we are, Vicario in goal. That would have been a goal all day. A goal all day. And like I said, seeing Longstaff come on, I'm, oh, here we go. He's going to bag the winner. And to think he nearly did. To think he nearly did get the winner. So, look, I'm going to bring the table up again. Let me bring this up again. Look, you know, this is how we are now. West Ham on 36. Spurs on 38. You know, what are your thoughts going forward? 2 games left. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, people? With 2 games left, can Spurs survive, or is there still more twists and turns to come? What are your thoughts, people? What are your thoughts? Look, this is it now. This is it. 2-horse race. Spurs and West Ham. We have Chelsea at Stamford Bridge next Wednesday. West Ham play before us. They play on Sunday away to Newcastle. And then it goes down to the last game of the season. They have Leeds. We have the Toffees. Everton. What are your thoughts, people? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Big up Machina Joe. Hello, young fella. Greetings from Sydney. Big up. Another Aussie in the building. Last day of the season will decide everything, I reckon, against us Toffees. Oh, okay, you're an Everton fan, are you? I've said it before. Imagine if it does go down to the last game of season 9 that Spurs have to beat Everton at the Lane. And our home form has been absolutely dismal this season. 2 home wins this season. It's just totally unacceptable. To think we've had more away wins than home wins. You couldn't make it up. You really couldn't make it up. Nighttime kid, don't West Ham play before us? Yeah, they do. West Ham play on Sunday against Newcastle. We don't play till next Wednesday. As Chelsea play Man City in the FA Cup. So we don't play a game of football now until next Wednesday. See, this is what I mean. Surely that would play in our favour, right? Knowing that Chelsea have got that extra game. We don't kick a ball now until next Wednesday. So surely going into next Wednesday, James Maddison has to start that game. It's that saying, like I've said before, shit or bust. We've got nothing to lose. Start Maddison. Let's literally go. We've got to go for it now. We have to go for it. We've got to try and go for the kill at Stamford Bridge, a place where we very rarely get 3 points, we even get a point, to be honest. But they have to go there and just give it their all. Just give it their all, especially if West Ham do pick up points at St James's Park. We've got to do the same. Got to do the same. You know, goal difference could play a huge part. Let me bring this up again. Goal difference could be a huge part. Hang on, that's the wrong part. Let me bring this one up. So this is how it stands at the moment. West Ham have scored 42. They've conceded 62. Spurs have scored 46. We've conceded 55. I'm sure it goes by goal scored, doesn't it? Goal scored. So, you know, it's going to be very, very tight margins if that's the case. You know what I mean? Here we are, people. Machina Joel's saying, I reckon West Ham will beat Newcastle. You're not the only one to have said that. Quite a few people have actually said that, especially the way they played against the Gunners last Sunday. Very unlucky to not even get a point out of that. Nighttime Kid also saying, mate, always the game we don't expect to win. We win. You never know. I know that saying you never know in football. We could go to Stamford Bridge and, you know, literally blow them out of the park and bag all 3 points and get a point against the Toffees last game of the season. You never know in football. I know that. But Spurs being Spurs, I'm starting to lose hope again. I really am. But I don't want to. I really don't want to lose hope because it's been a lot better under De Zerbi. We know that, but it can be a lot better. A lot better. Rodney Martin, all out for me. Let's start again. What, start again in the Championship? Oh boy, let's hope not. A long, hard season in the Championship. I don't even want to think about it. I really don't. Machina Joel is saying Everton are in relegation type form. 3 points from their last 15 in the chase for top 6. Total capitalisation from Clown Moyes. Oh, okay, you're not a fan of David Moyes. Like World War II France. But Everton have got a very good side, you know. They've got a good side. Especially Pickford. I'd have Pickford at Spurs all day. I really would. But here we are. It's yeah. Not so much doom and gloom. It's not so much doom and gloom. I just we'd feel a lot more eased if the boys got the job done last night. 3 wins in 3. You know what I mean? The 4-point gap. You know, knowing that West Ham have to go to St James's Park, win that game, and even if they did do or whatever, win that game, they're still a point behind Spurs. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of breathing space. There would have been a little bit of breathing space, but here we are. Here we are, people. Here we are. You know, what are your thoughts? Are Spurs going to survive, or is that it now? Do West Ham have the easiest run out of that? You know, what are your thoughts? I do have to dash in a minute, people. But what are your thoughts? Look, obviously on paper, West Ham do have the easiest. You know, who wants to play Chelsea right now? I know. Chelsea's form in the league has been very, very poor. But then so has Newcastle's in a way. But then Everton last game of the season, that's the one that's really bugging me because West Ham have got Leeds. Leeds last game of the season. For all we know, Leeds could be on holiday. Leeds could be on holiday. You know, before I do go, Machina Joe, you do need to do the impossible and beat Chelsea. Let's hope not. You know, obviously, yeah. Let's hope so. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Very, very tough. Right, people, I do have to go. But please, if you haven't done so already, please smash that like button. Please get subscribing to the channel if you haven't subbed before. And I will catch you lot on the next video. Take it easy. And as always, Enoch out.